I hope he's still out there. Like, what is the alternative to him still being out there? Jesus. It's 10:13 in the morning, mate. You can't be starting conversations like that. All right, we're into Champ Select. Thank God, save me from this conversation. Kasante and Milio being banned away by RNG. Lucian taken off the board by RA. And Lulu as well.
I'm just happy that we see, teams after the, I think it was the first game of the split, now going to ban out Milio every game because he's a champion who I think is just too ridiculous in what he's able to offer. Now still having things like Ahri, which has been a high priority up. Jace has been something that I think's been banned almost every game. I think it's been every game except maybe one really rearing its head. And both these mid laners I've seen have been practicing on solo queue. So that is another potential ban that could be out there. And I guess the only other thing that really comes to mind would be something like a Nico, which has been going through more, but there it is. It has been something that's been on the ban list, but I'm surprised. It's being banned by RA themselves.
I guess thinking, we're probably not going to get it. They'll just first pick it, and we don't want to play against it. So the board, Annie, a fairly standard first pick at this point, almost always going towards the mid lane. Gives you so much priority and space to play with, but no. Swapping in the last second to Wei's Wukong, which is really a staple for him historically, as well as being a great meta pick.
Yeah, now for RA, I mean, we still have things like the Aphelios Open. Aphelios has been by far the most picked AD carry in the LPL so far, but it's actually only gone in 1 win and 8 losses. Has not been having the best time as of late, especially when things like the Jinx are still open. But there's the Jace that we were hitting on earlier. So that will be a flex, can go towards top. Of course, in spring, we were seeing it played a lot more in that mid lane. And that would bring us to expecting AP junglers to come out. So something like a Maokai definitely can be on the list. But when you have someone like Leyan, you also have to always be conscious of something like a Nidalee pick that can come out later on.
I saw the Jace locked in. I was kind of low-key hoping for a Jhin on the side of RA, go full poke composition. Jin's in a great spot right now. We're not really seeing it on a competitive stage just yet, but there's still time. There's plenty of time for that to develop. So we've got somewhat matching picks, assuming that Jace does go to the mid lane for Mole as opposed to going top, but we definitely could see Xiaoxu take that as well. So now the bans have to come on through. And you could think towards supports, right? With an Aphelios there, Rakan taken off the board here. Things like Nautilus still open. But also things like the Thresh could be a good takeaway when you're playing against an Aphelios.
Yeah, Thresh definitely being the thing that comes maybe most to mind right now. We have been seeing a bit more of things like the Braum come out. That was picked up the other day. Because, yeah, not too many Enchanter options left open, right? Typically when you do have the Aphelios, it is either the Lulu. Milio's kind of been something that we've been seeing in solo queue, can really be played with almost anything. So now I think for RNG, LvMao not going to have too many options with what he can go for. And I like this by RNG. Focus spanning out top. Xiaoxu was someone who had a pretty solid season last time around. They're going to want an AD fighter champion, so going for something like the Jax really being the only, I'd say, aggressive thing left open, unless you wanted to maybe go a bit deeper down into the likes of a Fiora, because if not, right, we're probably going to get more of a standard tank, whether that is like a Scion. We've been having things like the Malphite come out too, or if they wanted to try to dip into more AP.
This is dangerous. Locking a tank top laner when you're against Breathe, Fiora's open on the table. You don't want to play Scion here. Please don't. Yeah. Please don't lock in Scion blind against Breathe.
And now you also keep the possibility of flex open by picking support here, right? So they can still leave that Jace for top side. They'll get to see exactly what Breathe wants to go to. We hit on the Braum, something that we have been seeing come out a little bit more, especially in solo queue. People have been playing it. That will be locked in. A lot of things to disrupt, right? Blocking out that Jace poke and stopping the all-in come out from RA. And now for RNG, top, unless he wanted to go for something like a Kennen, but does look like it will just be the Gragas at the end of the day. All about protecting LP in RNG's first game of the split.
Yeah, it is every egg in the LP basket. Whether or not LP can step up and be that carry. We talked about him being typically an auxiliary player, right? Historically speaking. It's his time to step up and be that carry. But he's up against Assum on Jinx, who has looked great on Jinx in the past. Great. In the last split, I was really impressed by a lot of games from Assum, especially his team fighting. So from what we saw at MSI, I'm going to be honest, Jinx is a higher priority to me than Aphelios. Now, granted, we're on a different patch, but it's more of a range issue than anything else.
I love that you hit on the range issue, because when you look at these two drafts, the first thing that jumps out to me is RA not only have more range and can try and get that poke off, but they also have a fair amount of engage and like ability to turn and start fights themselves. So I think RNG will definitely should be at a disadvantage like the longer this game goes on. Their comp, having solid engage with the Wukong itself and having like the Annie for the stuns, feels like it's going to have to index more into pick, being able to abuse that strong mid-game spike that, you know, things like an Annie and a Aphelios will be able to bring to the table.
Yeah, there is a huge amount of like AoE damage. Like when you've got the Annie Wukong as a combo is just fantastic anyway. And then, like you say, Aphelios, especially if you happen to have Burnham at the time, if that hits onto everyone that's just been comboed, like that is a lethal wombo combo available. But again, I want to bring the conversation back to how these teams are going to approach the game. Like RA, I really like this composition that they built for themselves, a lot of long-range damage, as you say. But RNG now, like a big test for them. How well have you meshed during the quote-unquote off-season, during MSI? Like, there's really not been a lot of time for this team to gel together and spend time together as a team. And RA, you know, they've made a couple of changes themselves as well, but it doesn't feel quite as dramatic as the side of RNG.
No, definitely not. I think another cool thing about our matchup coming into today is some of the shared history between these players. I mean, Xiaoxu actually used to be part of RNG's LVL team for years. Mole and Breathe. They played together in Mole's like last stint on WE. So
that's true.
RNG gonna hope to find something.
I don't think they'll find anything.
No, Joe, I'm going to sell you on it. Feather right now, he's going to double back. He's going to flash over the wall. He's going to throw out the Q. Then he'll die.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Maybe they walk into lane, though. It depends how committed RNG are to this play. If they just stick around, it's possible that they stay for this one. As there was another 5-stack that was noticed earlier on. Ray, we're going for that. So wait, going for the late invade instead. So should be able to get himself a free blue buff here. There's no vision for this. The only red ward, I believe, is in the river just there.
I love that Breathe is still down here as well. Just waiting. They know it's all about LP and they're going to look for it.
It's the Scion level 1 cheese, but on Gragas, Assum going to be stunned up here. Breathe yet to participate in the play because Feather just kept him out. And now Breathe has to waddle away, realizing that he's completely lost his lane.
He's lost his lane, and even RNG's bot lane. I mean, you've blown both flashes compared to, okay, like the enemy Jinx has lost both of her safety tools in terms of the ghost being gone as well, but RNG definitely committing too much, not getting exactly what they'd want for it. I will say though, I think pretty good plan. Like again, when you have this comp that's really going to rely on this Aphelios to be that big damage dealer later on, I kind of like cheekiness coming out early in the split, especially when we're the LPL and we have, we have best of 3. So if you lose a game, oh well, it happens.
I do think it's a high risk, high reward play, both in terms of the actual game, but also in terms of like morale. If this all goes horribly pear-shaped, it could be tough. Here we go though, Feather underneath the tower, level 2. Wait, looking at a dive, but a great little hook by Feather. Gets LP under the tower, but Assum's just arrived again, and he's going to be gone. Summoner's gone as well, but LvMao goes down. Feather wants a little bit more. He's 2v1 under the tower. They're going to have to back away.
In the end, actually, the earlier shenanigans not getting killed doesn't matter. With the fact that Assum had to back, comes right back, dies. He's still sitting at 0 CS. So
wait, 0? Oh my god. He's got 100 stacks on his call. Oh no.
He based almost immediately after that gank, and just goes to show Wei with splitting the map in half, having the patience to go back down, ends up giving RNG the advantage they were looking for.
Yeah, I was thinking, Feather getting the return kill, the assist, it wasn't too bad, but when you consider the amount of waves that crashed into that tower, it's not great for Assum. Leyan trying to fight for the scuttle, but I believe that was Wei that picked it up in the end. And still has his entire jungle up to farm.
I'm going to say replay what happened in mid. Mole trying to go in. They do end up getting it, and Flash able to follow through, leads to the kill, being able to go over. And you would have liked that a little bit more than Jace, but RA, they're going to take what they can get. And we need to remember that, sure, RNG's bot lane have gotten ahead, and it is significantly more worth than topside, but Xiaoxu has been able to find an advantage because of the time that Breed dedicated earlier on.
Yeah. It's worth mentioning as well, like Tangyuan going down there in the mid lane. This is one of the things that you really do have to look out for when your team is playing a strategy that takes half the enemy junglers camps. Because Leyan has to find something to do on the map. Like, he has nothing to farm because Wei took his bot side, so a gank in the mid lane seems pretty likely. Tangyuan needs to be careful of that kind of thing when the whole strategy is robbing Leyan of camps.
And now we're going to get to see if Leyan's able to find something else. With the ward, though, Breathe will spot it out, so now, Mr. Leyan, you do have camps up. Should spot out Wei right now, so I assume he'll just back off, be able to get his camps down just fine. And RA, like we said, we know the later the game goes on, they have Pio with the Maokai, they have a range advantage, they have the Jinx, which outdoes the Aphelios. So I still feel like for now, eyes have to be on RNG and Wei and what he'll be able to keep getting done.
Certainly do. And on LP as well, as he has built a tremendous CS lead off the back of all of the early shenanigans. You can see Wei over by Wolves though, so after the next wave, that will massively crash in towards Assum. I don't think there'll be a dive angle, but I've been wrong before, Larry.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's going to be up to where Leyan goes. I mean, he should just go straight to his Gromp after this, right? And then will be in perfect range to shadow for his bot side as this wave goes in. So nothing should really be able to come from it just yet. I'm interested to see if RNG will try and set up a first strike. Is Mole? Oh?
Mole actually dodged Tibbers there. That was kind of clean. The all-in timing, absolutely immaculate. And Tibbers not really able to get much. The thing about the Annie is it usually is like, hit Tibbers and win the lane. Hang on, Xiaoxu's in trouble as Breathe is trying to solo kill on Gragas of all champions. Won't be able to pull it off, and now Dragon's kicking off as well. It's all kicking off. This Feather walks up forward. Mole on the flank right now as they all look for LvMao on the front line, trying to protect his team. Mole goes in. The damage is huge, and Assum absolutely cleaning up LP in all kinds of trouble. They should gift it over to the Jinx as well, and Assum's back in the game.
RA, great positioning around the Drake and kind of using that to pull RNG and then collapsing from multiple angles. It's going to allow them to pick up a Drake. And now Leyan getting a ton of gold injected in him. Assum and Feather are going to be feeling great about that after the huge deficit they've been set early in the game. And we'll get to see here, again, I like the patience that RA kind of starts off with. Get LvMao, pull RNG towards both sides. You can see Tangyuan and Wei kind of focusing on Mole, which gives the other members a lot of freedom once Mole goes in to start running them down. Feather also with some nice CC on LP there, not allowing him to get off as much damage as he would have wanted.
Yeah, I mean, Feather's been looking good so far this game. Like, he got a great hook onto Tangyuan in that fight as well. Not to mention the hook we saw earlier, where they were trying to set up the dive. He managed to pull LP and kind of disrupt it a little bit. Wasn't quite enough to stop the dive, but Feather looking pretty good. As Leyan goes for the Scuttle Crab. I don't think Wei can contest this, but tries to move in. Won't be able to do so. And I just want to point out LP's inventory. This is a man that likes swords. This is like that guy who you go to visit and he's got a room dedicated to like cabinets of swords. Like that's LP right now.
Yeah, I mean, gonna try and like further his early lead as much as he can. Assum on the Noon Quiver as well. And you know, coming into the league, you know, there was all this talk about like Ghostblade. It's all about Ghostblade right now. And that's what I was expecting to see when we came into LPL. But it really has just been League of Stormrazers. I swear every game it's just about who's able to buy Stormrazor, how fast can you get it, and then can you start off a fight right away to be able to get, you know, that nice amount of burst damage down. Who's gonna do it, Munch? Who's gonna get the first Stormrazor of the game? And who's gonna have more of them?
Well, it'll be Assum if he continues building it instead of Boots, because we do have Boots on LP. But maybe Tangyuan changes things up, because, oh, no, changes things up, but not in a good way. As Mole dives on top once again. Can we find the Shock Blast? Acceleration Gates! Flashed away from by Tangyuan. That was close, but Mole is popping off so far today on the Jace. Now on a flank once more, and they're surrounded on every angle. Mole flashes into play, LvMao pulled back in, but Wei with the triple knockup, and suddenly it looks like it's golden for RNG. Feather, next target, the stun comes out, and LP will sweep up the kill.
Yeah, the difference being that RNG brought their bot lane up to the play. We see on the minimap, Assum still sitting down in that bot side, taking turret plates. And RA, I mean, just wanting too much, right? Wanting to try and make these aggressive plays on top side, while also feeling like they need to like Jinx down there to be able to catch up in gold and start getting these items online. Now LP going to be able to get some plates down in bot. We can see Breathe is still stayed, so he's going to push in a wave on top side. And all of it coming from the fact that, as we see on our minimap, already moving up with their bot lane. Braum and Aphelios so close, it's going to put Mole in kind of an awkward position as he wants to wrap around and go for the flank. I guess not really expecting Breathe to be here. Has to flash in. Not really where you want to be, Munch. And great ult coming out from Wei to get what looked like a 3-man knockup.
Yeah, fantastic stuff coming out from Wei there. And Assum, sure, gets a couple of tower plates, but doesn't really quite feel like it. Maybe if he's level 6, this play could go better. He could ult across the map, and maybe that turns it. I was wrong. The boost didn't matter with LP sweeping up a couple more kills. The Storm Razor is in. So, great little power spike here for RNG as they look for a bit more action. This has been an action-packed game so far, and it's showing no signs of stopping. Leyan falls, and RNG maintain control.
So one thing we could see already is RNG have at least kept one strength of being able to maneuver as a squad, right? Roaming their bot lane up, now making this 3-man roam towards River, finding these picks. So at least keeping the team cohesion to where maybe R8 seems like having some better individual plays coming on through, which leaves gold still relatively even. So R8 not down and out just yet, but the fact that we already have Sunderer and Stormrazor coming out for the side of RNG definitely feels like they should be the team that's stronger right now.
Should be. Xiaoxu tries to push Breathe under the tower. We'll be able to crash this wave, but Breathe should be able to farm that up fairly safely and actually knock Xiaoxu under the tower. There is still another minion though, but Xiaoxu's tanking, and suddenly they're even on health.
Out of nowhere, just from one cast. I guess the shining light for Xiaoxu is he at least still does have his ulti up. Whether he, would use it once he recalled to get back to lane or tries to find a place somewhere else on the map himself. Breathe just doing that to relieve a bit of pressure off of himself. And you know what? With a potential dragon fight coming up in 30 seconds, ooh, I'm all for relieving pressure across the map.
Hang on a second. Assum has gone Kraken Slayer first. Now, this is either an interesting build or he hasn't been told that the items were changed. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say it's an interesting build here. But this is the first time I'm seeing the non-mythic Kraken Slayer built as a first item.
Yeah, I think we've only seen Kraken even built once so far. Assum forced the flash.
LP going to be forced away here, which means LvMao is alone and take it down. There's one reset. Sway trying to cyclone up onto Leyan, but he gets out with his life, and now the follow-up from RA should just be a dragon. That's 2 dragons now. So despite RNG winning quite a lot of these skirmishes, or quite a lot of the recent skirmishes, is RA taking a pick and taking a Drake.
A little bit of overzealousness coming out from the RNG bot lane. I mean, they thought they found the pick on Assum, right? So I totally get it. They forced out the flash, not accounting for other members to be there so soon. And RA still just going to keep leaning on that scaling. Also, we can see from the minimap, right? Xiaoxu leaning it down, kind of giving RA some soft pressure.
So Mole going in onto Wei there, but looks like both players will back away. I was going to say, I wasn't sure if Wei could fight that, but looks like RA weren't really interested in fighting it either. It's Leyan now getting aggressed upon by LvMao. It's a very aggressive Braum. Usually you see them kind of playing with the team. LvMao very willing to go toe-to-toe there. It's Tangyuan trying to get some plates in the mid lane.
You even think back to like LvMao's best days on JDG, right? His strength always being about how he maneuvered around the map, leaving Loke into his own devices and really enabling someone like Kanavi to get ahead. So, hell, if you're going to move to another team...
Speaking of...
Does he survive? He doesn't survive.
Assum gonna surely walk
he has an
into
idea.
This. The wave is underneath the tower. They've moved up. They've got a control ward. Assum said, "Oh, but the TP's here." Assum and Feather, they've got reinforcements, and actually it's LP being flanked instead. The flash hook from Feather, and RA turn it into their play. A magnificent series of moves from RA. They got the Drake. Now they get a play onto LP.
Feather's hooks have been on point so far this game. Great by him, making sure they get that kill into the Aphelios. Leyan gonna be able to cover topside, make sure some of that golden XP doesn't get wasted. But Xiaoxu might have overstayed.
Oh, Wei actually flashes to waste the ultimate. I don't know if that flash was really worth it, because Xiaoxu just flashes as well. I feel like Wukong flash is more valuable than Sion flash.
I didn't see, did he must have used W to like get even closer when he was coming out of Tri-Brush or something, right? Because definitely feels like didn't need to be wasted is way... All right.
Well, he used W and then flashed as well. Like, he used both to try and block the ult link.
Well, I guess at least they get the Scion, both Scion abilities from coming out, so they know that that won't be up for this Herald fight that's going to come out. So Xiaoxu will be a bit slower. Does look like he's just going to opt to give bot wave. I'd expect both top laners to potentially move over here, especially since Breeze does still have that TP to get back down towards bot side if he needs to.
Certainly could be the play. TPs, both available for RNG, like you say, none available for RA. And you see all 5 players here. LvMao pulled in, rooted up. He's practically invincible, but is he invincible enough? There's one reset, but it's answered on the top side of the place. Mole goes down. Leyan alone, but the reinforcements are here. As Wei knocked up at the back of the pit. Tangyuan turns golden, and there's a cask onto their heads. Here comes Breathe, and he's here to play. Best escape as Xiaoxu caught in the back of the pit. No flash available. Double for LP as Feather limps away wounded.
Now RNG going to be able to get so much on the map. We saw Tangyuan instantly TP down towards spot lane. He's going to push that one in. LP able to stay in mid, get that wave going, and RNG right now should be able to start amassing, you know, a bit of a gold lead with the fact that they're going to have so much control over these lanes.
Yeah, it's a great little start here for RNG. 2,000, 2,500 gold lead. Let's take a look at that replay.
Honestly, I just really don't like the way RA is playing their comp. You have Mole jumping in by himself on one side of the fight onto a Wukong. Your other 3-man core kind of spread across. It just allows Jace immediately to go down. And now with RA kind of in damage control, they end up getting pinched themselves, having to worry about plays coming out from both sides. And a lot of this being down to the catalyst of Wei, setting all of this up. But, man, doesn't matter how much I love Mole. It definitely feels like Mole being a bit too overzealous this game. We talked about having things like the range, potentially being able to kite out with the Jace and the Jinx, and every time it looks like Mole is just ready to full-on send it into any member of the enemy team. Doesn't matter if he is backup or if he's alone, and it is not working out.
The thing is, that is what I expected from both Mole and from this team, is full send. Like, when I saw Leyan, Mole, Assum, all other teams together, even Xiaoxu, I was like, okay, yes. Full send. I'm here for it. The thing is, like, you have to full send together. And that's kind of where RA have fallen short in a couple of these skirmishes, or more specifically Mole, like you say. Perhaps going a little too deep, not realizing his team can't follow up. It looks like we may have a bit of a fight in the mid lane here. Drake up 10 seconds. Fighting for Prior for the time being.
RA, looks like they're even considering just giving it up. Xiaoxu kind of angling towards top, but they are going to try and commit into getting Vision River for now. If you look at the minimap, this is completely littered by RNG's wards. Look for the engage.
Wei's gone way too far forwards. He's hooked up, but they can't focus him for the time being. They're on LvMao. The Rocket comes into the team, and RA, they're so low on health already. Assum still going in the back as LP tries to get onto them himself. Breathe, saving the play for RNG on the bottom side as Assum has to back away, surely. It was a close run thing, though. A player down on either side, and Jungle is still up for RA.
Oh, wait. See what they can do is Feather.
Feather again finding the hooks, but he's unbreakable. LvMao is unbreakable. He's invincible. He's indomitable. And Xiaoxu next to full as the stun comes on through. And another
Look
for
at
LP.
Leyan.
Wait, Leyan's back and LP's in trouble now. Xiaoxu beating him down, but he survives.
And now Leyan is going to be able to get away. I think he should manage. I think Leyan went and stole the enemy red buff. At the minimap, he's kind of messing around with Breathe in that bot side.
I think he was chased out. I'm pretty sure someone chased him.
Now Arnie's going to be able to pick up this dragon. And honestly, this is just being so many mistakes coming out from RA in terms of, I really feel like how they should be playing their comp. Really decisive, really fun fights coming out. Feather especially has been on point with making sure things happen like we see here. But Assum already being forced to flash away. And then Breathe, like you said, really being the hero, comes off on one side of the fight. He's able to make sure that they pick up this initial kill onto Mole, and Leyan having to commit a flash to make sure that they get one in return. But it's here where RA, they just never want to stop. They never want to say die. LP uses the flash to not get hooked himself, but then LP manages to turn it around with all the damage being focused onto the Braum.
Yeah. So I was watching the minimap this whole time, and Leyan was getting chased around the jungle by Breathe and Tangyuan, doing like a ring around the roses. I don't know how he actually got out the other end of it, to be honest. In the meantime, Feather caught on the top side, so great hooks from him so far this game, but caught a little unaware as Matt's trying to get vision by himself. Needed to be there with the team. And I'm going to be honest, Lyric, my first couple of series, fairly slow. This is what I've been looking for. It's a 4,000 gold lead. It's 21 kills on the board as we broach the 20-minute mark. This is the kind of gameplay I'm looking for. It's a really nice cast again. Breathe is actually popping off today.
Breathe is having a phenomenal game, and RNG, they put all the eggs in the LP basket in terms of setting him up to be the carry, and it's worked out. 7-2-3 right now on the Aphelios. He has been huge, and all of it's been like a very conscious game plan from level 1, right? They didn't just draft this comp and then just like come in and be like, okay, we'll figure it out. No, they drafted this comp, and then they actively set up to play around how it should be utilized. So I'm actually, I'd say, fairly happy with how RNG have played. And again, people might come in and be like, oh, it's RNG against RA. They should be heavy favorites. But still, this is pretty much a completely new squad with either unproven players or players who, in recent splits, have looked like they're past their prime, like LvMao, at least coming in this game 1. And again, it hasn't been clean, but they've made it work so far. 3K gold.
And I'm going to be, like, if you're going to have LvMao on your roster, you're not really picking him up for clean gameplay. LvMao's never been known for, like, clean gameplay. Like, even in his heyday, he was like the wacky bard player that would catch you off guard as opposed to just being like outright the best mechanical support or anything like that. So I'm here for it. I'm here for the scraps. I'm here for LvMao. Showing us what he's made of again and trying to make his return to glory. Wait, does manage to clone himself and get out to safety. Just about mandate finished off by Leyan.
I will say, even though that was the clone, we can now see with Assum picking up that IE, that he will be able to start dealing some real damage, unlike in the last play. You said it, right? Kraken Slayer first, not really something we've seen. Not in LPL, not really something you see in solo queue all that much either. Hell, Kraken Slayer is an item. Just, honestly, I haven't even seen it be picked up that much, regardless of whether it's first, second, third, you know, so on and so forth. So we'll see now, as the game goes on, if still having better ramping damage than like had you gone Stormrazor, if that can be a difference maker, but it still feels like we're a bit away from that really being the thing that can push RA ahead in a team fight.
Yeah. I will say, just on the topic of ADC item builds, because I feel like we're still in the experimental phase of what people find is good, and inevitably it'll change over time. I feel like the logic of Stormrazor, right, is a really powerful early spike for fairly cheap. If you're already losing lane, and you're not planning on fighting until 3 items, maybe going for a scaling item is the answer as opposed to going for that Stormrazor. But it really depends on your perspective. And, you know, that is pure speculation. I've not run the numbers. This is not a, you should do this. This is a speculation.
I think an item I'm really interested in seeing in terms of ADC itemization, how it progresses forward, is like Static Shiv now. You know, Static Shiv coming back, seeing if like ADCs who need wave clear pick it up. I've seen some games in solo queue. I think it was Guma usually like playing it on Vayne. I saw another person pick it up on Ezreal when he was in a tough lane. Yeah. I think something like that would be like really cool if it is a bit of an option to try to equalize. Oh my god, I don't just want to get shoved in 24/7, right?
Yeah. I saw Deft has been playing it on Ezreal in solo queue a little bit with like a press the attack Ezreal build. Quite fun. Gave it a go with the Triforce as well. It was quite a fun build. And I will say, Static Shiv, it chunks now. Like that lightning does a fair bit of damage. If you're managing to proc it regularly and then near the minion waves you're clearing, it really does poke them out.
You know, as someone who just remembers laning against the menace that was like top lane Volibear back in the day, yeah. You know, any lightning coming through minion waves is too much.
I was listening to the dive and Kobe was saying he tried the double lightning Volibear. Not a fan. Did not work out. I'm going to stop talking about double lightning Volibear because Dragon is up on the map and RNG would look to get their second in a row. As RA instead fight for control of their own topside jungle. Well, mid prio so heavily in favor of RNG. Doesn't feel like RA can walk in at all.
I'm just happy that they were able to spot out Tangyuan looking for that angle, because that really could have been something that just exploded this game even further. RA need to get this one up because look in the inventories right now. LP, right before this, finished up that LDR. So now sitting at 3 items. I think he's significantly stronger than Assum would be on the opposing side right now. So it definitely feels like for RA, you kind of need to get that defensive vision line down, which, as we can see in their jungle, they do have, and just catch the waves that you're allowed to catch. Hopefully walk in your jungle together, try to get your own camps, and really make your way to those next item breakpoints, and wait to fight as long as you can, because you don't need to give in right now when you know RNG are stronger than you.
Certainly don't. I do just want to quickly mention as well, Tangyuan, 10 stacks on the Dark Seal, currently recalling we could have a Medjay's-based situation on our hands. And I'm ready for it. I'm here for it. But he doesn't go for it. Just gets control wards. In fact, he may have really not had any money when he recalled there, because I'm pretty sure he only picked up control wards. A TP coming on through as LvMao flashes into 4 people to set up the play. And Tangyuan behind it. Leyan hitting the target, walking away. LP trying to finish the job, but Tangyuan flashes in to finish the kill. The tree has been burned.
Now for RNG, you figure they're going to want to look to bait the Baron, try and draw RA out now that they don't have to worry about a smite to contend with. So you're going to push this wave in, start to move towards this top side of the jungle, and give RA a tough choice to make. Are they going to try and opt into this fight, try and deny a Baron from going through and get these kills? Because they really have to, and hell, without Leyan, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, 10 seconds still on Leyan. The Baron's already gone, basically. 3,000 on it. They're going to finish it. And RA don't even commit to the fight. TP used there by Mole as well. And it's getting kind of disastrous for RA. Oh, there's TP. It's a deep TP from Breed, who's been smurfing all game long, looking for the cast. God, Assum knocks him straight on in. It's a home run for Breed. And that might just be everything as RNG barrel down the mid lane with Baron.
Yeah, now they're just going to be able to keep going. I love how active and how aggressive Wave's being, looking for these opportunities. Honestly, with these 2 death timers, whenever they'll just look to even try and take an inhibitor, HP is about half on most members of RNG, so if they don't want to be a little too risky, I get backing off, but definitely feels like they'd still be able to win any fight right now.
Yeah, Mole trying to get a bit of damage onto Breed, but will just dash himself over that wall. They're going to clear out this bottom side of the jungle, move towards the bot tier 2. As you can see, Tangyuan has already pushed the wave on up, so this should be an objective. No, they're not going to commit, deciding that they don't want to take the town.
And at this point, I mean, I don't know why RA's... Oh, wait, this is the second fight. I thought this was the initial fight where they lost to Baron. I mean, right, TP comes out. They were forced in to try to deny that Baron, which really gave RNG the opportunity to even look for that flank. So, overall, just nice job by RNG. Pull them into the Baron pit, pull them even further out of their own base. They already have the TP wards in place to let this go through. And Munch, I feel like we're seeing kind of what you talked about before the game. I honestly feel like RNG have just been a more cohesive team. They've been playing as a unit, like they have an idea of what their comp should do, and it just looks like they're more practiced. RA, on the opposite hand, in their first game of the split, they do look like a bit of kind of a thrown together team, right? People kind of off doing their own things. We've seen a few good like mechanical plays or engages here or there, but things not really cohesive just yet.
I have to say I'm kind of impressed by how on the same page RNG are. It feels like a lot of these plays from Breed, he's obviously being very vocal in what he's doing, because you see the TP starting to be channeled and the whole of RNG moves into make play. Like LvMao flashing forwards to Brawble on a lot of these plays. Like, oh, look at the cask, man. He just doesn't seem to miss. Hits all 5 players. Breathe. Maybe got too deep. Flashes out to safety. Tippers in, and here comes Way on the backline as well. It's magnificent from RNG. The boys in gold, earning that gold.
And now RNG just going to be able to keep barreling through the base. Honestly, with these death timers, the fact that they have Baron up, this just might be it. You do have Assum alive, who is like your big damage dealer, but it shouldn't be enough. If he ever walks a little bit too far forward, he's just dead.
He's got Ghost and he's got Leyan for the setup. Can they hold on to the game? RNG starting to hit onto that Nexus. LP's still full HP though. The minion waves arriving will slow things down just a minute, but there are still some minions here. Baron is timed out though. That means Assum can clear these minions away and RNG have to walk off.
I mean, this one at this point, right, feels as close to done and dusted as it gets. 10K gold lead already on the table. Dragon about to be up. They'll be able to pick that one up. And we're just going to see here, again, just the decisiveness coming on through. It's actually RA who wanted to find something, but LvMao's Braum Shield able to block the engage, and then great job by RA. Tangyuan finding the opportunity to come out from the jungle, land the tippers, and then way on the flank. It just opens everything up. Breathe with a really good cast kind of mixed in the middle, and that was just kind of the ideal wombo combo coming through, right? Yeah. Tibbers onto 2 to 3 people, Wukong coming from behind, and then the cast to just sow even more chaos.
I feel like Braum is one of those extremely polarizing champions, right? Where when it looks good, it looks so insane. And then you see, like, not great Braums, and it feels completely hopeless. So, a really impressive game from LvMao so far. And I just want to shout out, during Champ Select, I saw some lads in RNG jerseys with a big old RNG flag. And this has been a tough mid-season for RNG fans, but they've showed up to support their team. And boy, have they been rewarded. Imagine how good it feels to be one of those RNG fans in the crowd today.
And now RNG finishing off. People might have thought we were being too harsh in terms of expectations coming on through. But with this rebuild, I did not expect them to look, again, so coherent. As I compliment them, Munch, they're getting punished.
Is this a fight? I'm not sure if this is even a fight. We're all just kind of like hitting each other and nobody's taking much damage. Oh, hook got away. No, it's the clone. They back away.
RA have figured something out. RA have figured something out, guys. They've learned. They have range. They've finally done it. They might be 10K behind. It might be 30 minutes in the game, and the game's already done, but they've realized it.
Hey, look, it's the little wins. It's the little wins that we're taking today. 10,000 gold lead, like you say. They're trying to defend. They're trying to hold on. No Baron makes it a little bit more difficult for RNG to siege. And look, there's a hurricane in the pocket of Assum. If they've got one thing, it's wave clear.
And now, at least able to buy more time. And right, when you have a champion like Jinx, when you have solid frontline coming out in a Scion, right, the game's not necessarily over in terms of that. Can they win a team fight if RNG just make a few basic mistakes? Sure. But definitely shouldn't be the case. It's just the amount of engage that RNG have being at an advantage now. They have complete control in terms of vision. Even Way now trying to deny RA from being able to get anything, but with the resets coming out from the rest of RNG, RA will at least get a bit of a reprieve and getting some more vision down.
Yeah, it felt kind of bold for Way to be, fighting for that ward. I'm not sure that's a ward he can defend at this point. Breathe is on a journey to search for a flank here. There was a ward on the blue buff, but he's in no man's land right now. He's either looking for a flank or he's going to wait for those supers to push and then just try and end the game. But I think he's on a flank. Assum hasn't seen him yet. There we go. He's been spotted. Assum in trouble. Flashes away. Knocked back, but the rest of the team is here. And it's Breathe alone. Everyone can collapse. The knockups come back through and Breathe, slippery as ever in his scuba gear, takes him for a ride. RNG will waltz it home. And if Breathe ain't MVP, I'll eat my hat.
And you know, honestly, I thought RA did a great job outplaying that, but the rest of RNG pull the trigger so fast, LvMao following up, everyone going in, and now RNG, first game of the split, first game with, again, a completely new roster, and they managed to